Well, Granville finally makes his move. The zombie Maria apparently is going toe-to-toe with the goddess Luminous. We have Cell over here in his perfect form is stronger than Shion. And then we have the Syscon Leon is still moping around. He went over and seen Elmesia and said, "What's going on? Why do they have my sister? What's going on with my sister? What do I do? I need my sister." Man, episode 89 was a very, very packed episode, and thankfully it didn't feel rushed. I think with how much they covered, it could have easily felt like the pacing was off, but they did a really good job with this. I still don't like Yuki. I still don't like Yuki, but apparently Yuki has made it to this hero, and at the same time we have Guy showing up. Now, I don't remember what they said about Guy and why he's getting involved, but I did get an impression of Guy that he's the type that likes to be entertained, so I can see him showing up just because he knows that something's going down. I think Elmesia might even see that as well. Like, oh yeah, Guy is showing up. Guy is totally going to show up. There's too much happening right now. Elmesia sees the politics are going on right now. She knows that all this stuff is coming to a head. And again, I love the fact that everybody is not oblivious to the fact that Rose is doing what he's doing. Granville is attacking Luminous, and this is going to be a big deal. Guy is showing up. Guy is showing up. I did get a laugh at that at some point. I'm like, I don't think that there's a struggle here. Every single time something comes against Rimuru, I just know that at some point somebody's going to snap their fingers and everything's done. They're going to act like they're struggling for a little bit. Even this episode, everybody's acting like they're struggling. Oh no, Rimuru's actually being held down by all these otherworlders. What will Rimuru do? Oh no, they're so powerful he can't defeat them all. They act like they're struggling, but then at some point somebody's gonna, snap their fingers. But I got a kick out of Diablo the most because I'm like, okay, this bug guy apparently is supposed to be like the counter to demons or like the like nemesis of them. I'm curious as to if they'll get into exactly why that's the case. Like, what about the insects is bad to the demons? Like, what makes them hurt them more? Is that they are like immune to something that the demons can do? Like some of their powers is nullified by insects and by nature or something like that. But either way, like he's being held back and he's like, no, this guy is easy for me. And I'm like, well, then why don't you just one-shot him? Like Diablo's like, no, I could really easily take this guy on. I'm like, then why don't you just kill him? Like, what are you doing? Oh, he's distracted. But then why don't we just kill him and then go? Distracted by not Rain. I think that was the nice thing here. I'm like, why was he so distracted by Rain? He goes over there and he just easily beats her. Oh, it's Guy. He's seen Rain, knew that Rain was under Guy, and assumed that if Rain's here, Guy's here. So I think this entire time, Diablo's distracted by where's Guy? If she's there, where's Guy at? I have to keep an eye out for Guy. Guy's the concern here. As to, again, why Guy is there, that's going to be the question mark. And it could be the fact that Diablo's there. It could be the fact that Guy knows that, Rimuru may have he may have seen the same thing, that all of these primordials are now here. And he's trying to figure out, okay, why is, I'm forgetting all the names, their actual names, but like, why is Ultima, Carrera, and Testarossa here? Could be questioning that. Now, granted, Rain didn't know who Testarossa was. But again, they might not know the names that were given to them, but they know what their original names were or whatever. But anyways, yeah, Violet and all of them. But yeah, Guys showing up and it seeming like a nice little reunion between the two of them. Like, hey, how's it going? Long time no see, Noir. It's always like a struggle whenever they tell their other names. It makes sense because of the colors and everything like that, but I like the whole segment with Diablo and Rain, though, because it really just feels like one of those moments of like, oh, just kiss him already. Like, Rain's like super mad about Diablo and just complaining, and I'm like, oh god, can you be any more like obsessed with him? Could you point out the fact that you are even more obsessed with him than you already are? Like, just yelling about the fact that you call yourself a primordial, yet you didn't do what everybody else did. You didn't seek strength. You didn't seek power. You didn't do all of these things. You could have done these things. It does seem like Rain was under Diablo at some point and was upset by the fact that he didn't achieve something, that he had the power to do it, but he didn't. He just sat around. He had no like goal or purpose. And then now he's, here obviously, and now he's got the purpose, which is Rimuru. But Rain's upset about that. Like, you could have done these things, but you didn't do these things, and you were weak and all this kind of stuff. And again, at the end, it's like, Diablo's like, whatever. Here, have a multi-stage disintegration. I'm a demon that is doing, like, this crazy OP holy power ability, which is multi-staged and, like, this insanely huge thing of, like, I don't know, like, 50 versions of it that all go off at the same time just to burn her to death. Okay. Like, how do you use something that can literally shatter yourself, man? Devotion enough to your master, you can even control spiritrons. Let me just like effortlessly control holy power through my demon lord master that somehow can control holy powers. A bit more than Shuna, right? Shuna was doing disintegration, but not multi-stage. That was crazy. But anyways, yeah. Going back to the beginning of the episode, I guess we should get to the episode proper. Opening up the episode with, Granville getting all of his forces together to go over there. Again, the moment that he's out there with, like, this big O, like, force, I'm like, these people are going to be dead in no time. Why are we even looking at them? It's like, nobody cares about any of these people. Again, they kind of imply the fact that this Razzle guy might be a challenge. But everybody else there is, like, shrug. Like, it's only really Granville, it's Maria, which I'm really curious about Maria. I'm very curious about Maria and, like, why is she so powerful as a undead being? Like, it has to be strictly the fact that Granville has, like, poured so much energy into her, which, again, my assumption there is that all this love that Luminous was giving him, he was giving to Maria, and that's why he was aging. That was my assumption there. So this undead Maria could potentially just have a whole bunch of Luminous's power, like, built up inside of her, and that's why she's so strong, but we'll see. But yeah, apparently those three individuals is, like, the only real kind of threat here, besides Yuki, again, him kind of popping in there and having Laplace and Footman in there as well. I don't know if they implied the other one was there. I forget what her name was. Tyr, I think it was? Yeah, Tyr. I'm not sure if they implied Tyr is there. I think they may have sent Tyr somewhere else. But yeah, it's, like, not really that big of a deal here. Now, they are very powerful individuals, like Granville being this true hero, one that was actually birthed from this egg. But again, them showing up is, like, shrug. I just don't really see necessarily a threat here. The biggest question mark that I really have with this entire force really is, because I don't think Yuki is going to go head-to-head with anybody. I think he's going to just slither in there, he's going to unlock the chamber, the Holy Ark, and he's going to slither back out. I just don't... now, granted, he could use his greed ability that he now has from Maribel and use that on the hero and potentially manipulate her in some way. That's my assumption. He's probably going to potentially just kind of slither back out with her. But that could be probably the biggest thing here, is to have this show up. That the Holy Ark is opened up, this hero is released, and again, the hero is going to want to kill Rimuru. And that could be potentially something of a threat to Rimuru, but we'll see. Anyways, yeah, we cut over to Leon talking to Elmesia, which, man, it feels like it's been forever since Elmesia showed up, but it's not really been that long. But yeah, talking with Elmesia, her point out the fact that, he hasn't smiled since he was a hero. It's kind of a little interesting nod there, but yeah, kind of going into him sort of trying to prod Elmesia for information and her kind of saying, I know what you're doing. It was almost like one of those moments of, like, she's implying that she knows what Leon's been doing, but Leon's acting like she doesn't know what he's been doing, but at the same time, Elmesia might not know everything that he's doing. You're looking for other worlders because you're looking for somebody. It's probably this Chloe, right? Okay, you're finally opening up to me. Let's work together. Let me see if I can help you now that you're wanting to open up to me so I understand what you want. So a couple interesting things that was noted here, though, is that he specifically says that when it comes to Shizue, the fact that Shizue didn't trust him was because he was so, like, closed off. And he says that that's not true. I would die for her or something like that. I would sacrifice myself for her. Now, it seems like it's off the way that's translated here, but it implies to me that he's talking about Shizue, that he would have died to help Shizue. But at the same time, it shifts back to Chloe again, so it makes me kind of wonder if it's specifically talking about Chloe, that he would die for Chloe. I think it's talking about Shizue, which is kind of interesting to note that he'd be willing to die for her, even though it's kind of implied the idea that they weren't too fond of each other. But either way, it was an interesting little bit there. But again, we kind of see that Shizue wants to help a lot of the individuals that were under, Leon. So I don't know. Yeah, Ilmesia goes into the fact that she doesn't think that Tempest or Lobilius has anything to do with anything bad. It's just this Razzo guy. The Razzo family is doing this stuff. They're orchestrating this big attack. They're the ones that are going to be involved with this. Again, pointing at the fact that Guy himself will act. And again, I think that's probably because either he sees some sort of entertainment in something like this. He doesn't want to see, like, a bunch of people die. Or potentially he has an interest in the hero too. It just feels like everybody has a connection to the hero in some way. And he could potentially know about the Holy Ark and know that's what Rozo and all them might be after. And so he's sort of lining himself up to be there when something happens. Because he doesn't immediately go in there. Rain's chilling outside the town. They're not going in there. It's almost like they're sitting there waiting. But again, it kind of comes right after it talks about the fact that, there's going to be this big attack and Guy's going to, act, and I'm going to send the Magus up to the northern area. Like, they're implying here that there's this conflict and that he might get involved because of it, but We'll see. Maybe potentially in the next episode. Or maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed some sort of note as to why, again, he'd be wanting involved. But yeah, as he's parting ways with Elmesia, he missed the fact that John is disappeared. Just so you know, glad I could be of use to you. You seem like you know everything that's going on. Glad I can give you some new information here. That's when we cut over to Rimuru having tea with Hinata. Diablo and Nicholas over here having a competition out of nowhere. I think his name is Nicholas. I think he's the guy that was obsessed with Hinata, obviously because he's here, but this guy is like worshiping Hinata. Like he's obsessed with her. She is the true like goddess or whatever like that. Yeah, he's just trying to outdo Diablo, and Diablo just completely wiping the floor with him. You can't beat Diablo in being a servant. But yes, when we have the attack, we have the first person that kind of shows up is Razzle, and Razzle goes up against Diablo and Xion, at some point swapping out for Xion and Runga. But yeah, interesting here, the entire time they're fighting, they did mention the fact that the insects are like a natural enemy to the demons, which again, I'm kind of curious if they'll get into exactly why that is. But at the same time, noting that there is other insects that we have had in the story, that this one is one in its true form. So let's insert the joke for Cell. Cell, perfect form Cell is really, really powerful. Again, curious if they'll get into exactly why he's sort of an alt to him. At the same time, yeah, Xion apparently is not... Diablo claims that this thing is stronger than Xion. So I guess the hope here is that with Runga at her side, and again, probably utilizing her skill, she could overcome this, because her skill kind of, if I remember correctly, makes the impossible possible. I forget exactly what it said, but they implied the fact that she could even harm Rimuru, so she should be able to harm this thing. If she can harm Rimuru, she should be at least able to harm Razzle. And again, with Runga at her side, I'm assuming that she'd be able to pull it off. But yeah, at some point, Rimuru ends up sending Diablo off to go face against Rain, but we'll see how that turns out. On the other end of here, we of course have the appearance of Granville. Immediately is fighting against Hinata and Nicholas. Immediately I was concerned because, of course, Luminous has mentioned before that Granville should be stronger than Hinata. And I think we're probably going to have potentially here that be proven wrong, that Luminous believes that she can't beat Granville, but this is going to be one of those kind of moments where Hinata can prove herself being stronger than Granville, this past hero. And it could be a lot to do with the fact that Luminous assumes that all of her power has been poured into Granville, and Granville's been giving it to Maria, and thus Granville's not going to be as strong as he should be. That Granville in his current state isn't going to be as powerful as what Luminous is believing. Because again, Luminous has technically fought Granville, has fought Maria, has fought Razzle, all at the same time. Which again, kind of goes back to the whole thing of why Luminous is struggling right now with Maria, when she used to fight all three of them at once. She used to fight all three of them at once, but apparently now she's struggling with fighting Maria as a zombie. Yeah, sure. But yeah, like at some point, Nicholas comes up there and he's pretty dead set on Ken. Again, technically he killed him before. He killed this like mirage of him, nuked it, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you for sure this time, Granville, doing this disintegration upon him. Before Granville absorbed it and shot it back at them. So I'm guessing that sword has the ability to absorb spiritrons or something like that. But yeah, Reminder showing up and Granville bringing out a whole bunch of mind-controlled otherworlders that he can't beat, which makes sense. It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny. You have Granville is trying to take down Rimuru, who he thinks is a threat to humanity. And what is Granville doing to defeat this individual? He's bringing forth a bunch of innocent humans to distract Rimuru, because he knows that Rimuru is too soft and will not hurt innocent humans. I didn't actually think about that when I was watching it, but that makes no sense. Logic has been completely broken here. Granville believes that Rimuru is the biggest threat to humanity, but he's using innocent humans to attack Rimuru because he knows that Rimuru won't hurt them. Anyways, I'm not going to think about it any harder. It's a little bit flawed in logic for the writing. I'm sorry. I'm moving on. I'm moving on from this. Anyways, yes. Hinata's forced to have to fight Granville alone because Rimuru is being attacked by humans, otherworlders that are very strong. Before, yes, he sends Maria down to go after Luminous and gives her the order to kill Luminous if she doesn't come up here. Which again, Luminous, who has fought all three of them at once and had no problem. Yeah, cut down to Luminous's area of this whole thing. Yes, she's down there with the Holy Ark, the hero. knowing full well that that's what Granville's coming after, that this is all just a big distraction. Ploss shows up with a message from him, says, Luminous, go upstairs. Let's finish this. Let's fight for once. Let's do it. Let's finish what we started. And yes, they all kind of square off against each other. Luis obviously pissed off at Laplace because Laplace killed his brother. So that was a given. The other guy going up against Footman. And yes, Luminous fighting off against Maria. Again, my assumption here is the only reason that Maria is able to even stand toe-to-toe with Luminous for more than 2 seconds is because she's been infused with a lot of power that Granville has given her. That's the only thing that explains it. There's no other way to really explain why she's so powerful. And yes, obviously here, Luminous pointing out the fact that her soul would not be restored. And that's kind of a given. That'd be the assumption. I don't see Granville sending her off to fight Luminous if he was able to restore her soul. She's just a shell. She's literally just a shell of what she once was. There might be potentially in there memories, like her brain could still be intact, that it still has memories of some sort, but like Luminous is putting it, you're not Maria. I can easily destroy you because you're not Maria. So, kind of implies a little bit there that Luminous, was close to Maria. And that was the assumption there, that probably after they made some sort of pact there, they got to, bond a little bit, but it still sucks. It still sucks. But yeah, as they're all fighting, Yuki just kind of walks right in there. Everybody's fighting. Everybody's on high alert. And he just strolls right past Luminous. Luminous just completely doesn't see him. Doesn't even sense his presence whatsoever. He just got like this. He just activates his stealth skill that he created. He's just created a stealth skill so that he could just walk past her. It's probably something to do with her trying to sense, magic or something like that. And he just doesn't really show a presence. I don't know. But yeah, he just strolls up in there and apparently I'm assuming is going to free the hero or at least break the seal and let her out of there. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, overall, really, really good episode. Again, a lot. Even though I joke about, I mostly joke about. There's probably explanations in the light novel about a lot of this stuff. But besides joking about a lot of these little moments, really good episode. Really good episode. Great pacing and a lot going down. I'll be curious to see what happens in the next episode. If we're going to get into essentially why is Guy there? Does Yuki free the hero? Does the hero go berserk and attack Rimuru? All that stuff hopefully going to get answered, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the episode. Hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, until next time, take care.